If you as an individual can't read this book right now, I get that. But as a whole, I think it's actually more important than ever. And I believe firmly in checking trigger warnings in books and only reading the things that you can handle. However, when it comes to Parable of the Sower, I don't know. I just think that collectively, it might be a good idea to push through, and I want to talk about it. For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, this is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler, and it is perhaps the most important work of fiction that you could pick up currently. And I say that because this book is about a post-economic and social collapse in America, which leads it towards fascism. In fact, in the sequel, Parable of the Talents, there is a political candidate who is capitalizing off of that economic and social collapse by campaigning on the promise of making America great again. And if you're not already terrified, this story starts in 2024. Now, the reason that I'm saying that this book is more important than ever is not because I think that the world is going to fall apart in the specific way that it did in this story, although it could. But no, the reason I think it's important is because it takes a look at the way these patterns operate and what it looks like to resist in community. This story is essentially following a young girl named Lauren as she develops community and deconstructs the worldviews and ideologies that led America to this brink of collapse. And I'm not even saying that our liberation is going to look the way that it did in that story. But I am saying Octavia Butler knew what she was talking about. And I think at the very least, it is worthwhile for us in large groups to look at stories like this and to consider why the great writers in the last generation or two saw this as a solution. So yeah, I encourage you to read both of these books. It is Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler and the sequel Parable of the Talents. And I will link them both down below.